Howdy, Philagelos. Here we are. It's Q&A number 7. And it took me a while to get to an answer for this one. I had to think about this one. But Chris Scott submitted a really interesting question that I think has a good story to it. Actually, he submitted 2, and I think I'm going to do is 2. They're very different questions. I think I'm just going to do them as 2 separate videos. But Chris Scott asked, what's the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome in your career? And that's an interesting question because an artistic career is one giant hurdle. Now, that's not to say that I don't enjoy my work. I enjoy my work thoroughly. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. And at the same time, the weird thing about entertainment is that there are no hurdles. We're just, if you enjoy the journey, if you enjoy the work, then there are no hurdles. It's if you do a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life. It's kind of that. At the same time, all of it's hurdles. It's all hurdles, whether it's getting better at joke writing, getting better at songwriting, getting better at performing, getting better at building a fan base and finding people to connect with, getting better at writing emails, getting better at connecting with people on a one-to-one basis, getting better at designing merchandise, getting better, all the stuff. It's all one giant hurdle. And there is never a coasting period. Even the top tier artists, when you're talking your Beyoncés and your Taylor Swifts, nobody's coasting. Everybody is trying to learn the next thing about their own work and their own art and their own career. So that's it. It's all a hurdle. But I want to tell you about one specific time where I made a very large mistake. But it didn't seem like a mistake at the time. I didn't find out it was a mistake till later. It cost me well over $10,000 to make this mistake, and it was a tricky one. So in 1998, we put out an album called Rock Formations. It's this album right here. We did put that album cover out, not realizing that Deep Purple had already done the same cover idea in the 70s. Anyway, we spent a lot of money on this album. And it did all right. I still have about 100 copies of it sitting in my garage, and which I may be able to get to you at some point. But we decided that track number 5, Flat World, was going to be the single. It's my favorite, still my favorite song on there, I think. And it's really a pretty solid album. This was before I was the singer. I was just the guitar player and songwriter in the band. And so we were putting together our promotional push for Rock Formations. And we decided that we were going to do a radio campaign. Now, looking back, if you know anything about the music business, I can already hear you cringing. But we decided we were going to do a radio campaign. So we looked around for a radio promoter to work with, knowing that this would cost us some money. And I ran across a guy named Paul Loggins. And Paul Loggins had done a bunch of radio campaigns. This was his thing. He ran a business doing radio campaigns. And one of the credits listed on there was for Kenny Loggins. Yeah, Your Mama Don't Dance, Danger Zone, Songs from Pooh Corner, that Kenny Loggins, who happened to be his cousin, Paul Loggins' cousin, Kenny Loggins. So I thought, well, I'm going to take a shot here. I went to Kenny Loggins' website. It had his email address on there, and I emailed Kenny Loggins, and I said, hey, thinking about working with your cousin Paul on a radio campaign. He says he did one of yours. How'd it go? Was it cool? And Kenny Loggins emailed me back, which was very exciting. And he said, yeah, he did a good job. Okay. So somewhere, I think I might still have that email from Kenny Loggins from back in 1998 or 99, whenever this was. And so we did it. We went with Paul Loggins to do this radio campaign, which started out as, it'll cost $1,000 or $1,200 or whatever it was. And then we find out, we need to pay more to add some more stations. You know what? We have to buy some prizes that these stations can give away. Payola still exists, by the way. What we had to do was this station was go, we're going to give away a boombox or whatever, it was. I remember we bought boomboxes. And so we had to buy the prizes that the station would give away as we'll just say it, as a bribe for them to play our track, Flat World. And we got added, the first station we got added to was in Hilo, Hawaii, which was interesting. And we got added to, 15 different stations. We did end up on a chart in, I can't remember the name of the magazine. It wasn't Billboard. It wasn't Cashbox. It was a radio-specific chart. They had like an up-and-coming singles chart. And we charted at number 10 or something for a week. Somewhere I still have that chart too. I'll have to find the chart and show it to you. But we were between like U2's new single and somebody else like really huge. And it was for ads that week because we got 15 ads that week. And I was getting up at, the crack of dawn to do radio interviews. I remember being on the phone at 5 o'clock in the morning with a station in Louisville, Kentucky. And the DJ that I was talking to had such a heavy accent. I couldn't understand anything he was saying. He's like, all right, we're really excited to play here, Louisville. I was like, Louisville? Oh, Louisville. Okay. All right. Got it. And so I was just, doing the thing. It's very exciting to do that kind of stuff, to have a reason to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning talking to radio DJs about how excited they are about your single. And the plan was to follow that up with a tour to all these places that were lightly playing our singles. We weren't in heavy rotation anywhere. We were 2-3 spins a week kind of thing. And certainly no major stations. These were all like grade D stations in little tiny places. I mean, Louisville's not a tiny place, but Hilo, Hawaii, tiny place. I don't even honestly remember where else we were playing. Some places in Ohio, I think. It was like 15 stations. So we were planning on going on tour. We had an agent. We were ready to go. The agent was all set to book our tour. And then our drummer quit. Let's see. Raphael quit right then. Let's see, where's Raphael? That's Raphael right there on the corner. Raphael quit. He had good reasons to quit, but he quit. And we're friends now. It's okay. And so Raphael quit. So we had no drummer. And as we were looking for our new drummer, and if you know anything about my career, drummers have been the bane of my existence, except for Joe Chavez. The agent's life completely fell apart. Like, just everything happened to her at once, and her life fell apart. So now we had no drummer, no agent, which meant no tour. And yet we were still paying this radio jobber to, push our stuff for longer than we should have. And overall, the whole campaign cost us just a little over $10,000. Not to mention the thousands of dollars that we had gone into the studio to record our album with. So we're sinking a lot of money into this project. And soon after that, I would say maybe we started trying to pay off that. We ended the campaign. We didn't get to tour. We were trying to pay off the immense amount of money that we put into the project, not making very much. And the other guys in the band just started not giving me money anymore for it. And I would ask for it and they still wouldn't give me. And soon after that, it wasn't that long after that we split and parted ways with me and Tim and Ronnie. And I ended up on the hook. It was all on my credit cards. The whole thing was on my credit cards. And it took me 5 years, I think, to pay that off. So when you're talking credit card finance charges, well more than $10,000 went into that radio campaign that essentially netted me nothing. It didn't result in any sales. It didn't result in any tour dates. It flat zero, except for the cool feeling of being able to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and talk to a radio DJ in Louisville, Kentucky. But hey, the song was on the radio at some point somewhere, so can't beat that, I suppose. That's something for the feather. Anyway, maybe I'll figure out how to get these to you, because I really do think it's a pretty good album. There's some good songs on there, and I think you might enjoy it. It's not comedy stuff, obviously. I wasn't a comedian yet when we were doing that. So anyway, that was probably the biggest, or at least the most expensive mistake of my career. Now, I turned around not 5 years later in 2000, even closer, 2002, 2003, whenever I did that, and I spent another 10 grand of my own money recording Rib for Your Pleasure, which was my first album as a singer with Roadside Attraction, and also it had my first couple of comedy songs on there as well. So, it was a quick turnaround. That $10,000 I spent on recording Rib for Your Pleasure was $10,000 that I did not spend on buying my uncle's Corvette that he offered me for that same amount of money. I made a record instead. Why? For you. For you. I did it for you. Yeah. And maybe I'll figure out a way for you to hear that one anyway. At least I'm gonna find a way to post Flat World so that you can hear our radio single from way back in the day. Okay, so that's it. That was an expensive story. It's a hard one to tell, but I'll see you later.